Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts and you're catching me at True Divine 44, the True Divine at Instagram and Twitter, True Divine 44 for pretty much everywhere else. So this is the daily energy with tarot reading, where I pick up on the energies of the day, pull cards to see how they correspond with the energies, and give you a narrative that will help reach your highest potentials on any given day, helping you navigate and get through the energies within you, around you, and within others. Take what resonates as it is general and leave what does not. No offense is ever taken. Leave a comment though. It's great to open up dialogue, build friendships, and the friendships that we're building up are beautiful. I love reading the comments and I love responding to them even more so, even though that's been a bit difficult the last week or so. But I will catch up to those, but I do read them. Let's see, this is for the 6th of April 2021. Yesterday was a real intense day, and I'm on the back end of that day now, and it's the realization of finding the balance within, seeing the actual realities of where we are at and what we are facing, from my knowing, from everything in my psychic being, from everything in my just physical, spiritual, emotional being, all aspects of myself. I know that we're facing a real turning point, a cyclical point, that it is going to be tough, and that we are facing more than most would like to admit right now. And it's finding the balance within those energies to still maintain a level of happiness, a level of bliss, a level of figuring a way to follow your path, to reach your own enlightenments, your own leveling up, because let's face it, I don't feel that this is the only realm, and to level up would maybe give more freedoms and more keys to other levels, to have the choice or the ability to explore. And so that's where we find the balance point between looking at what's really going on and looking at it from unindoctrinated, unveiled eyes and through neutral lenses, but also maintaining a level of divinity, in that we can maintain a level of bliss, maintain a level of accomplishment, happiness, all of the things that make us go. So for the 6th of April 2021, the first card is the lovely Queen of Wands. Now this is a gorgeous energy, very sensual, very she's got a lot of magnetism. You know, the energy of this card depicts a really intensely magnetized auric field. So you're drawn to this kind of energy. If you're exuding this kind of energy, you feel creative, you feel sensual. It actually helps you go to have that feedback of sensuality with yourself, and it's a great tool to have in your own self-fueling kit. And also it helps you fuel that creativity, however you channel that creativity into something that is a physical matter, a spiritual matter. It also speaks to other people around you, for some of you, that you are feeling very magnetized, very drawn, intensely, almost lost for words type of drawing energy to another person, to this person who is very creative, sensual, very confident, very independent, very go-getting in what this energy, this person is passionate about. Can care very little about the agendas of others, more about the passions of themselves, what drives them, the art that they like to do, the dance that they like to do, whatever it is, the singing, the type of things that they like to create. That's what they get really passionate about. A lot of people could look upon this as self-centered, and I just feel that for the most part, and in particular for the energies that I'm picking up on today, that's a very unfair depiction of this energy, because a lot of people are lacking in the passion area, the sensuality area. There's been a lot of damage done to us on a sexual level, and in particular a sacred sexual stroke spiritual level. And so some people just find it a little bit off-putting in a way that not jealous, but um, misunderstanding of this kind of magnetism, of this kind of confidence and sensuality that this person holds. And so we've got the Two of Cups to clarify the Queen of Wands. So this keeps coming up, and this is where thank goodness there is a level, for all it's too extreme for me, for my liking, I should say. But there is a level in this plane, in this realm of duality. And so where there is chaos, those of us who are navigating through it are finding these victories. Those of us who are facing it head on rather than running away from it are finding these gifts, these blisses, these victories. And one of these victories for a lot of people seems to be with this Two of Cups maintaining itself in different decks popping up all of the time, in particular this Egyptian deck. There is a lot of people where in the chaos that is going on right now, that is being brought about by magic for the main part, through various different forms, even science being an act of magic, it's particularly with a K. We have that a lot of people are navigating themselves well enough to actually find balance points within themselves, within their own divinities, which is actually on a frequency level that is to draw in another person that is on the same frequency, that is on the same level, both spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. And that you're able to connect, and like magnets, you're being drawn. You might find that you keep running into this person randomly, or after not having heard their name before, or very rarely before, prior to these recent points, you are all of a sudden running into this person, or you're hearing the name, or you're having synchronicities around the thoughts of this person. Like I say, almost this unexplainable sensuality and magnetism towards each other. And this is the beautiful thing. These are the flowers that burst out of the ground that is being scorched. You know, these are the new buds that come out of the chaos. And as far as the stage, the so-called powers that be go, those that puppet them, the shadowy figures behind them, use chaos very much so in their spell work, in a negative way, for negative intent. So as far as those of you that resonate with this, even if it's not this today, but you can recognize these victories, this magnetism towards your different kinds of victories within the different suits of the tarot, let's say. It's these victories, these independent navigations through the energies of chaos, that you know you're on the right track, because you're creating something beautiful. You are the flower buds coming up from the scorched ground. There is a newness to this, and this creates the balance that we need. So this is where, in being of service to self, and then in service to others who deserve it, in a way that I don't say deserve it as in, oh, you've been naughty, just not giving your energy away to bottomless pits, to bottomless wells. Where we see this is, this creates a balance, and it creates this happiness, and it does take, for the most part, in your own individual life, but therefore through your field that you put out around you, you do have an impact on the people around you, and therefore outside of them and outside of them, depending on how big of a ripple you cause. Doing these kinds of things, finding the balance point and finding the bliss and the love and the beauty out of chaos, regardless of chaos, in spite of chaos, whether it's your own chaos or induced chaos via outside forces, this is where we see that it does take the power away from these people around you in your individual lives, or these people on this power stage that insist on trying to unsettle people's lives for their own gain. And so this is where, you know, kudos to you. It may feel strange, but it's almost unquestionable, this kind of magnetism, where you may have had doubts before in the past because of past relationship wounds, past childhood wounds, inner child wounds, where you might have had doubts in the past. There's something about this magnetism, there's something about this person that doesn't give you that feel. You trust them, and that's a beautiful thing. And this is a balance point within the abundance of chaos right now. So it's a beautiful thing to see and a beautiful thing to read. And for those who resonate with this, you just adore this person, and the adoration just keeps growing. And so that's it. It's just lovely to feel, it's lovely to witness, it's lovely to even be a teeny weeny small part of, just to even speak it out into the ether. And so the next card is the Nine of Swords. This is where for those that resonate with this, these two cards here, take this point as is where there is no doubt about this person or about this energy that you're being drawn towards. Things are so unsettled right now, and are so they're induced, they're deliberately unsettled right now. We find these bliss points, and sometimes naturally, particularly when things are so unsettled, we take a magnifying glass to everything else. It's as if this gives us a level and a knowing of what we can have up here, and then we have all of these fears that we don't doubt and put into these two cards, what we're feeling here, but we just filter them down into every other insecurity that we have regarding our present, regarding our future. And this is where, and then take this as in, some of you won't have resonated with those first two cards at all, and that's okay. So then go on to part of the reading coming on to you now, in that there are a lot of fears, and there are deliberate projections of fears from the so-called powers that be. And therefore, those who resonate with that frequency, who enjoy causing chaos in other people's lives because they're afraid to look at their own inner work that needs to be done, because they are sociopaths themselves, narcissists themselves. That filters down. So just like everybody is picking up on these energies, those who really align with that frequency and sort of get a kick out of that frequency, out of those energies, are really ramping up right now. So in your individual life, you might have this nightmare issue of the people around you being very argumentative, trying to sow seeds of doubt into your knowing, whatever your knowings are, whatever your feelings are. People being on the attack. Now, for the most part, I feel that most people will resonate with the fact that these energies just feel like they're around, and around in abundance. And obviously this is coming from this agenda that is going on right now to funnel and channel the masses in a certain direction, or in certain directions. There's a lot of fears of war. And I can't say that that's not happening. It's happening already. It's happening with Syria, and very much like I'd said would happen, in that America, UK is involved, absolutely, but sitting back quietly right now. But as far as the UK is being more sneaky about it, in particular for Syria, in that they have reported on that, in that they have been shown to be paying and training journalists to create shots, putting water on children's eyes, pretending they'd been tear gassed in Syria, to literally be paid millions, at least 1,600 of these reporters, both UK and Russian reporters, to create what would look like the crisis, to help create the need for the intervention of being in Syria and doing what we've been doing to Syria, to what it said America was going to do next, in that, just like the UK, start prodding at Russia by going by proxy. So it's as if right now we are seeing the start of that, where you know, Biden's administration, although let's face it, I think at least now most people can say that all of these administrations, both in the UK, Australia, America, so on and so forth, are the same administration, that we are seeing now that by proxy they are prodding Russia via facilitating the Ukraine. And so one way or another, they're going to keep prodding those bears to get those wars going. It's all part of what they are trying to create, what kind of results they're trying to create. And so there is a lot of worry about this, particularly in the US, but not exclusive to the US. And this is where it puts magnified, because we feel we have no strength and no power over that situation. It puts a magnifying glass, deliberately so, and just, you know, accidentally, on purpose, happily, for those that want to cause this kind of chaos in people's lives. It helps us put the magnifying glass to burn holes into ourselves regarding our own innate fears, those things that we have been indoctrinated or brought up with, fearing about ourselves or about our situations. And so this is where we see this Nine of Swords, and it is brutal. It's sleepless nights. It's not being able to get a deep sleep, or sleeping and waking up exhausted, having those nightmares, you know, those reams of nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. And this is where fear has been the biggest part of the spell work that has been going on for a long time now, but intensively so over this gestational spell, over this last, 19, 20 months, where we see that we have been coerced so easily as a collective through the medium of fear. And so this is where we are being asked, we are asking ourselves to face those fears head on. And again, by being brave enough to find balance points in the chaos, with these first two cards, we find our balance points through facing head on that which is unbalancing us. We can't find the balance points in the various aspects of self without actually facing the imbalance, without actually facing what is not on an equilibrium, without actually looking at in raw detail about what needs to be recalibrated and you know, rebooted. And so this is where you're being asked today to face those fears head on. Again, this gives you the strength. It gives you, and strength comes up, Major Arcana, number 11. And so this brings up the 2. That would be reduced to a 2 with this 2 of Cups. It's very important, this balance point of this divine feminine, divine masculine, which is the strength card is another depiction of that, in that it is the lion, the divine masculine, and the feminine energy, the female. And that's the balance of the masculine and the feminine within, the two divinities within. And we see this Absolutely aiding if you are wanting an outside relationship that reflects like a mirror that which is on the inside of you. If you haven't been drawing this in already, by facing these fears, you actually have the mirror effect of drawing that in, as above, so below, as within, so without, having that mirror effect of, by being brave enough to face the fears that you've been putting off facing, or that you've been indoctrinated to just sweep under the carpet and just put a smile on your face regardless. By being able to look at those in raw detail, you find the strength, and this trains up your divine feminine, divine masculine. It literally, puts your divinity through the gym, because there's nothing like a divinity workout than facing the fears that we try not to face desperately. So it's with this that then we reflect the image of that on the without. We magnetize, we draw in that is reflected on the inside into the outside, into our physical reality. So that's one aspect, and that's one drive and maybe passion that could make you feel the impetus to face these fears, whatever they might be for you. Regardless of this, though, even if you're just sick of feeling this fear, even if you're just sick of your subconscious literally trying to wake you up through the night because it wants to wake you up to the nightmare that is the nightmare, the living nightmare of living with fears, no matter how under the rug they are swept, they're there, they're exhausting, they're a drain, they're a plug that is pulled from your system, they take away from you. So we see that, 1 second, I'm nearly done. We see, okay, baby, 1 second. So then we see that with this, we have this reflection of what is inside on the outside.
I feel like I don't go very fast in the camera, but I go very fast in life.
I don't.
Why does it look like that?
It looks very funny. It looks very, very funny. So we've got the 2 of Wands as the next card here. And again, back to that 2. The 2 of Pentacles keeps coming up. The 2 of Cups keeps coming up. The duality, the opposites, the positive, the negative, the yin, the yang, divine feminine, divine masculine. All of these opposites that have a relationship with one another. And so this 2 of Wands is, a drive, a passion to go forward in the world in a certain direction. It takes bravery, though, to be able to look at different ways and look at the world again honestly, and to be able to be honest about being on the timely manner of, instead of sweeping things under the rug, looking at different ways of doing things, looking at ways of taking back your world, of creating an avenue for income, particularly for business, particularly for trade, for international trade, for sure. I just want to say that the ship thing, that is going to keep occurring as far as Israel wants to make the point and pave the way to work with China to create another, avenue for it to be a main port of call, a direct route to, and I'm no good at geography, but I just feel that they want a direct route from China to Israel. And so I brought this up in another reading. And so this is where, be aware of that, either plan around that or get with it. If that's what's going to happen, make your trade with it as best as you can. It speaks about the Chariot. So being brave enough to face these fears, particularly for those of you that resonates with the fears of the future, the fears of the future of your business with this 9 of Swords, the nightmare situations that you're having regarding finances or how the future looks, or the uncertainties of the future, particularly for trade and business. We see that those who are brave enough to actually start to look at the other options, to have the strength and the divinity within, the sovereignty within, to stand strong and actually look at the situations and use the intuition of the divine feminine within and taking the action of the divine masculine, puts you into this brave decision of looking at the options in the physical with this wand, and deciding routes to take and taking action on it, and taking action on it now, actually, while things are looking down. For a lot of you, it'll be good business ideals to start looking at getting certain imports that may be a bit difficult to get in a few months' time, not forever, but for a short time, getting them now at the price that you have already been considering looking at, wondering if they're going to come down anymore. To be honest, for those of you that resonate with this will be such a small window anyway. And I feel that Israel is going to be playing around a lot with China to create a sense of lack for certain essentials, for certain things, for certain products. And that will be, not that there is a lack, but just like the jab and the armor, you know, they want to create that lack because then it makes people want it more. 1 second, I'm going to sort out my little business and be right back.
I'm sure you're going.
I'm back. Sorry about that. See, adorable. So take strength, and there's quick movement and quick action to be taken here deliberately, and particularly for those who resonate with the business point of view for this, particularly for those of you that resonated with the trade, international trade point of view for this. And so if you are a supplier of something, or if you've been looking into supplying certain products or certain parts of products is another one, to be able to look at those components and use your intuition to look at which ones you feel might be difficult, or whether an end product might be difficult to create on homeland without certain parts from certain areas of the world, then go for it. Even if you have to sit on that for a while, I really feel that will pay off for you. Obviously, it's not a personal reading, so I'm not particularly financially giving you financial advice, but at the same time, if it was a personal reading and you were picking up on this as it being a general reading, but you know it's speaking to you, then use your intuition and then use your action in your divine feminine and then your Leo line divine masculine to act on it. Don't procrastinate with it. By facing those fears, by looking at the situation as is, and whether those fears be emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever it might be, you know, sensual, sexual, the root of you, who you are, then by having the strength and, you know, doing the training ground with that divine feminine, divine masculine within, you do find yourself in this balance point of ending whatever those fears are, whatever those cycles in your life that were created from the root cause, from the vortex that was this fear that seemed to have an impact in various aspects of your life, in various aspects of your being, with the 10 of Swords coming up on the bottom of the deck, being the underpinning. So by, you know, condensing the reading, it comes out to finding the balance point in the chaos, no matter how chaotic it is, no matter how fearful you are of certain things in your life, of certain aspects of you, facing these fears and finding the balance point through facing these fears and putting your divinities through that training ground, pumping them with iron, you know, building them up, getting used to using them. And for the best thing of finding your balance point even amongst chaos, and fear is a very chaotic energy, as we're seeing from the collective stage, you find yourself strong enough to look at new opportunities of how to take your world back, of how to follow your passions, of how to get on the train before anybody else is on it, to create something that feels good to you, that is abundant to you, that is success to you. And with that being said, we have the Chariot card, the quickening of that. And so all of a sudden things happening quick, so you feel that before you know it, you'll be taking a pause by doing the layout of this reading today. If it resonates with you, you'll feel that actually, damn, that fear is gone. I've got so much space there now to cultivate the new, because I didn't realize how much that was eating up, how much space inside of me and on the outside of me in my physical reality. That fear, that root of fear was eating up how much time it was taking up, how much energy, how much sleep it was taking away from me. That's when you'll realize that, oh yeah, 10 of Swords, strike, done with that one. Moving on to the next. On the bottom of the deck, I just want to pay mention, I don't know where this numbers thing is coming from with me, but it's, well, I do, but it's really intensifying the synchronistic numbers that I'm getting constantly looking at the clock, and it's the same digits 4 times. You know, different people saying different numbers, and I think, damn, I was just thinking of that number, or certain things like that, that it's always happened, but it is intensified today, not today, as of late. And so the 3 is on the bottom of this 10 of Swords. So that opens up to the new, because going from the 2 of Wands into the 3 of Wands is this embryonic idea, the planning stage, taking it into action, taking action upon it, and gaining in the abundance from taking that action, planting those seeds. Actually, you know, you plan out what seeds you're going to plant. You prepare the ground by taking the action. You prepare the ground, you plant the seed, and this is where you start to create this abundance. And again, more balance point going into the 4 of Wands, creating balance within your home life, whatever that home life is, and happiness and bliss within that. The 3 of Cups on the bottom of the other deck. So this is speaking about friendships being formed, strong bonds being formed, celebrations through those strong bonds being formed. And it's about time, from the so-called powers that be point of view, it's about time we throw in their face the very thing that many of us preach so much about, love. Who dare tell us not to show our love and be in communion and be in celebration with our loved ones? It's about time that we say no, especially when you don't even follow those same rules. We will choose our loves. We will choose the generations. There's a mother feeding a child while another child sups from a cup of the milk from her breast. There's strength in the family, there's strength in friendships, there's nourishment in it. And so this is where we again show our power through not doing anything violent, but just stop taking orders from psychopaths, from things that have been contaminated, beings that have been very much contaminated, whether that be just on the physical level with the prowess of power, abundance, what's so-called accolade, or whether that be for a lot of them that I'm picking up on, this gooey, horrible substance that has managed to get a hold of them and be a conduit to things that we don't want to take orders from. And so this is where we show our strength and our divinity and our sovereignty through the simplest but most powerful act of not allowing anybody to tell us who and when we can love, how we show that love. And so go hug somebody, give that hug physically, you know, give that touch, transmute that energy through that hug. You know, Wayne Steiger has got a drive to get the hug right up there as far as magic goes, as far as transmuting of energies goes. So it's about time that, yes, the ether hug, it works. I can hug somebody, Susie, you know this, Gaia, you know this, Paul, you know this. I can hug somebody from way over the now you said sea, but it's ocean, isn't it? I get it wrong all the time, but over the waters, and they feel it, and vice versa. So that works, yes, it does. But I would choose to physically hug those people and many more. And you better believe I'm hugging me and mine physically all of the time. So, you know, to show that is to transmute those energies. It's to build those bonds, create those nourishments, create those foundations that we can that we can celebrate, that we should be holding to the highest regard, not allowing psychopaths to tell us not to. So that is the reading for the 6th of April 2021. I hope it helps you reach your highest potentials. I hope it helps you face those fears, find that balance within the chaos, and create your passions, your drives, and your abundance from that new fertile ground. They might scorch the ground, but you are the beautiful, handsome flowers that are bursting up from that ground if you choose to be so. I know that you're all beautiful enough to be so and do so. So please do so today and give plenty of hugs. Hugging you all, loving you all. Much love, stay balanced and stay whole. Mwah.